We have still millions of topics, guys, and we will certainly yap through the breaks. When I contacted Ray a few days ago and said, Ray, let's make the opening campfire chat for the winter circuit 30 minutes, I instantly added, we'll not run out of topics anyway, and so she doesn't protest. And here we are. We haven't talked about the two teams yet that are playing today. We haven't talked about the killers yet because we have so much to cover. And I also know that Toby has so many interesting details about the teams that are playing here. But since we see Zaphis, Angels, Jar, Kenshi standing in the lobby together for Team Ascent, starting on the Survivor side, and Navo being ready for Team Silence on the killer side, we are not going to delay it much further. We are going to hop into the first trial here. Yet we have to make a few predictions, and let's start with our tournament analyst Toby here, who should make the best prediction based on his job. You could say, Toby, Ascent or Team Silence? Who is it going to be?
Ascent.
It really depends on the form Ascent is on today, because recently they have been struggling a little bit. They are losing games left and right in some tournaments, and I hope they get it together and can perform to their peak. We know most of their players, if not all of them, and each of them is capable of playing really, really good Dead by Daylight. And if they show what they can today, this should be a really clear score for Ascent, in my opinion.
Ascent, indeed. Thank you for the correction on the final letter there. Ray, what do you think? Clear score or a little bit of trouble, as Toby described?
I don't want to be completely biased because I know some players on Ascent. They have been previous players in other teams that we have seen here in DBDLeague, but I might not know all the other players on the other team. What did you say the team was? Silence?
Silent? Yeah,
Silence.
SA.
Okay, that is a newer team to me. So I don't want to discount them out, but I also don't know them. We will have to see. We're already in here, and they chose this set. This is the pick of Silence. This is the Dark Lord. We can already see an interesting build that is coming out here, but you know what? It's already got one of the totems down. We've already got Undying that's completely cleansed. So this is the Dark Lord on the Chapel map. This is something that I haven't seen. Really, Dark Lord has completely entered this scene, and this is probably nobody has a clear-cut map for this killer. I know a lot of people have been placing him on different maps, so I'm not entirely sure how this set's gonna go. It might be the map could be too strong, too weak, I don't know. It's gonna be really, really interesting. We already have both totems cleansed, however, so the killer is down to 2 perks. They keep trying to catch out all these other people, and there we go. There goes Kenshi down. I don't even know if that's a good result for Dark Lord. I'm gonna be honest. This guy is completely new. They are setting a precedent. They're playing the Dark Lord for the first time in this season. So early down, I would say, but 2 perks gone, no gens done. I don't know. This is completely new.
Yeah, you're right. This is a premiere here. Kenshi also with the first down in the winter circuit. Very unfortunate title to catch there on the side of Ascent. Very important here that both teams are getting early onto their objectives, getting the totems out of the way in exchange for a hook stage. I think both sides at the moment have a reason to feel good about something. Whoever wins this best of 5, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is in the main stage. So you don't have to move through an entire bracket here. We are putting these 2 qualifying teams on a little bit of a mini final, you could say, and whoever is taking the win today is going to be in the main stage that is starting in 2 weeks from now. Dark Lord is defending the hook a little bit. Usually we see that when the killer has the feeling that the first down came in relatively quickly, because then they are trying to force the second stage in order to remove the survivor from the battlefield as quick as possible, and it feels like the survivor team is absolutely fine with this strategy of the Dark Lord. They are not really caring much about Kenshi. They are taking care of the generators here. Angels is leaving very early, pre-dropping the pallet as well. Nice play, making sure that it's not going to be the injury too fast, but then our little Wolfie here is strong enough. Kenshi in the second stage. Ascent might lose the survivor soon.
Yeah, this actually could be really tough for for them this early, although Kenshi does get saved. Oh, and there we go for the people placed onto Jaw, who is now injured. But it seems like this killer player is just kind of hanging around this generator right here. One of the gens in Carnival gets done. That is our first generator of the season as well. Let's go. But we do know, ooh, that was really close. We do know that there are 2 gens, including this one that the killer is at right now, that are super close to getting done. So there is a tunnel out there. It seems that the killer is not interested. And going back, I can't help but feel like that's just a mistake. You could have somebody out of the game that early. They do get this down, yes, and we can see that there is Scourge Hook Pain Resonance on the side there. It could be that the killer, oh my god, this is a new hook spawn for me. Yeah, they were eyeballing that one. That will be the generator with the most progress, reduced by a hefty amount. Now, Kenshi needs to be careful and stealthy and out of the way, but it seems like the killer figured out that that's what's happening, because if Kenshi gets found and downed, that will be 1 person out of the game. And it seems like the killer is sniffing them out. So to say, Kenshi does have live finesse. It's not enough. Takes the ticket hit, but decides to stay over its shaft. That is a pallet that needs to be broken. But here we go. We are on the chase of a survivor who is going to come out. They don't have decisive. They don't have anything. If their teammate takes hits for them, they can live a little bit longer. But Dracula isn't that easy even a killer to loop by themselves, so eventually I think Kenshi's going to go down. It all depends on how long they can last in this chase. A little bit of hellfire. Oh, that was nifty. Oh, but look, Jaws over here.
Oh.
They have a perk that lets them get endurance whenever they stand up. I believe that is... Yeah, girl, I don't know. There's a lot of perks. But they just go down anyway, so it doesn't even matter. That will be Kenshi out of the game. So long, farewell. Thank you for playing in this Dracula set. Jaw is now injured. It's We're Gonna Live Forever. That's the perk. That's the one that gives them endurance when they stand up. Goodbye, Kenshi. And that will be the rest of the team having to scramble as well. Pain Resonance finally used, but 2 people are injured. There's some generators out there with some hefty progress. I wonder if we'll see a 4K.
We might, because Jaw is now also going down after we have just eliminated Kenshi here. It was such a nice attempt there, coming in with the We Gonna Live Forever. It really looked like the heroic rescue last second, and Angels even now on the snowball action. This is how the competitive community calls it, when a killer is trying to go for the slug play, chaining multiple injuries and downs together here. And Zafis has the entire responsibility on their shoulders now. We have 1 survivor here in a pallet, so you could even try hide and then go for a pallet save, but since the killer is not around, it's just going to be the pickup. We hear the bats already in the background, and there's the Dark Lord, of course prioritizing the injured survivor to get a quick down there. Switching, no, we are actually losing the track of Jar, going towards Zafis with the Wolfie and trying to get the injury as quick as possible. Successful with that, but Jar should have enough time here. On the other side of the main building, rotating towards Angels. We see it in the hut on the left side. Angels back up on the feet. Double dash onto Zafis is successful. So we have it down, but we also have Ascent standing again in this trial, and they do have some time now. Seeing that Zafis is picked up in the background, might even be the basement hook here that takes a little bit of additional time. Dark Lord decided to not go for it, instead hooking in the open. That allows the quicker access to the bat form and chasing the survivors again, but they managed to fully heal both of these survivors. So Ascent with an important comeback here, but it's still not enough. One of these survivors is responsible for unhooking the team member. The other one is currently in a chase, so the generator progress that we have available to the team at the moment is equal to 0. So there's no significant progress towards the goal of the survivor team, and Zafis is here as well. Wolfie trying to go for the dash attack here, not successful, but at least blocking the window for a moment. That is forcing him into the locker and now lurking a little bit around here for the next survivor. We are finding Angel behind this pallet. Important information about the hook counter that you are currently witnessing on the screen. Sometimes on the left side it is bugged because of the introduction of shoulder of burden. It has been always tricky with the hook counter before, even in AHL, and now it's even less trustworthy than before. So keep an eye and keep your mind on that. Yeah, Ray, it looks like a successful comeback slowly, but there's still a lot more to do for the survivor team.
Yes, right here, basically what they're doing, they're just fighting for the right to get one more generator done. I doubt that their goal is to get all 5 gens done. That might just be a pipe dream at this point, because a specialty of Dracula is his immense map pressure. Because he has the bat form, because he's able to get these down super quick, he's just a menace to be dealt with, right? They almost just got 3-man slugged. Almost multiple times. I mean, this team is doing a fantastic job of placing themselves in positions where they can get really fast recoveries. There we go, another hook save right there. We got Zappis and Angel still injured. They need to get through these heals. Oh, I love that little mind game they have in the palette. If you time that perfectly, the killer cannot transform and get you with bat form. That is an intentional change by behavior, I believe. Oh, look at that. They are able to get the generator done. See, this is just what they're fighting for. Tooth and nail to be able to get something like this, because oh man, the map pressure of the killer was great, but look at these survivors. They were able to fight for at least one more generator. And you know, I'm going to say this with much as the idea of getting all 5 gens done now is not off the table. These survivors are able to apply their own little amount of pressure here. The killer is having to scramble, and even though they are playing a very, very high tier killer, it is still not impossible for the survivors to fight for this. Zappis is on that hook. What will Angels do? He's injured. He can't just go for the save. It might be looking like this could be the end here. Angels has started the generator over at Shack. It has been regressed to about 0. That's really unfortunate, but I mean, Jaw's just lasting as much as he can. But, you know, it's looking like it might be over. If, you know, in my professional opinion, this might be all over. You can't see people in bat form, but you can still see scratches and hear survivors. Yeah, it seems like they have just seceded. That will be a 4K1 on Father Campbell's Chapel with the Dracula. A very good and respectable result. We did see both sides fighting for this result. So we'll see if Ascent also has a good player on their team, a good Dracula player to either meet or beat this result. This is the very first matchup of the season, so this could set a precedence for the rest of the matches we have today. Oh, we get a Mori too. Oh, fantastic! I love it. Dracula Mori is so good.
That's what you waited for. This was the reason why you stood up in the morning for this Mori right here. But what a great match to open the winter circuit. I feel like with this up and down in the mid game, this bringing the survivor in a very difficult position by losing the team member early, then having this snowball with multiple downs together, then Ascent fighting back and for a very long time looking so strong, as you mentioned, that they could literally get all the generators done. Nobody would have been surprised, and I don't think no one would have even blamed the Dark Lord if there would have been all the generators done in the out, because we've seen how strong Ascent was on the recovery play on the survivor side, and then just a few seconds later it's making another 180 turn. And I think this is telling us a lot of what to expect in the winter circuit here. Very close fights, and we are only in the qualification stage. So it is going to be a wonderful event that we have ahead of us. But I also think we need to touch on to Ascent now a little bit, because this up and down was perfectly reminding me of what Toby described earlier when introducing these teams for a short moment, and described sometimes they are playing really strong, sometimes they are struggling. Toby, I feel like this is part of what we have seen here right now in this trial. And how would you potentially challenge now when you're playing the killer side? How would you go in as a Dark Lord against Silence?
I excuse me. I think personally they really need to step up on the gas and just find quick chases. We had like a 1 minute chase at the beginning of the trial with Kenji, but then they kind of lost their momentum and made like tiny little mistakes that added up. The killer player for Ascent, which is going to be Angels, just needs to apply a little bit of pressure in the right areas and just focus on their own gameplay and find quick success. Otherwise, Silence might be able to win this first set relatively smoothly.
Yeah, I think this is this early game, right? This pressure that is coming in the first few minutes is going to be important here, especially with Silence coming from the SA community, but new for the now I lost my sentence. Coming new to the stage, so lacking a little bit of experience in recovery plays, potentially. It could be the chance for Angels here to really apply the pressure early, overwhelming them a little bit, and then really striking towards the 4K. And Father Campbell's Chapel can be a tricky map. Ray, you pointed it out. It can also be difficult for the killer. It is quite large. You have a main building that is not the worst. But sometimes I feel like when the survivors make a mistake and either going down all the way on the circus or down towards, let's say, the southern part, there is the possibility that the killer is really defending a few generators while monitoring that no one is stepping in the back, such as ARP or Suffocation Pit. It reminds me a little bit of this. There are maps that are very easy for the survivors to sneak in to get an unhook, and I feel like sometimes Father Campbell's can be quite rough. So this would be a chance for Team Ascent here, getting an early down, and then playing this strategy, defending a few gens, and in the meanwhile, making sure that the survivor on hook is progressing in the stages.
The map Father Campbell's has a history of being really weird because it has the potential to spawn some really tight 3 or 4 gens. It can either happen on the main building or it can happen on the other side of chapel. So it's up to the survivors and their skill and communication to break those 3-4 gens. And also it's up to the killer to be able to pressure the map in such a way, but it's difficult because there's a lot of good filler palettes and there's a lot of good chaining structures. You have the potential to spawn a really good window into a jungle gym on main. There's always going to be a jungle gym that spawns next to Shack. So it really is just really hard to play strategically going in because the RNG is completely different every single game. But I love watching matches played on this because it seems like a perfectly good map for, especially, I'm watching this and I think I like it for Dracula. A 4K1 result does seem pretty okay for the strength of the killer. So I really want to see what Angels is going to be doing on their team and see if they can match this result as well. Considering the other team picked this set, I would say that they just, they probably are the one to be favored in this matchup. They might have just an insane Dracula player. I don't really know if Angels is practiced up on this killer, but it might be that Angels will be the killer player for Team Ascent. So we can't count him out yet. We've seen him play in comp and he does a great job. Also, I want to take a moment and say hello to some new players, some new audience members. I have seen a couple people who are like, hi, first time here watching comp. Hello to you guys as well. If you're new here, we love to have you. The comp scene has been growing a little bit lately. So if you are new here, be sure to ask questions in chat. We've got some wonderful mods. We've got some wonderful returning players who are also just able to answer your questions. We love the engagement. Hello, welcome in.
Yeah, this is the most exciting part, to be honest, when we are starting a new tournament and getting some new players and teams in. New faces also mean new strategies and new approaches very often. It's not, a lot of people say, yeah, we are seeing a few new teams. They are not meeting up with the standard of the other teams. They're quite experienced. That is not true. Some of these matches where the new faces are involved, they show us new perk combinations. They're showing us a new strategy, and sometimes we learned so much from them. So here we are with Silence from the South American community, trying now to make their name on this survivor side against Angels, and it's going to be not the easiest task here for our killer, trying with the double dash, blocking the window successfully though, so I think Angels will still be happy about that. Just like in the All Hollows League, the perks have been locked before going into the trial here. Luckily, Angels was not going for any No One Escapes Death, and instead quite an aggressive build, I would say. We can clearly see that he's planning to hook a lot of individual survivors here, and even ignoring this little wall here to catch Adam by surprise. Agitation is an interesting pick here. We talked about it during the break. There is the chance for the killer on Father Campbell's to hook the survivors in a bad position for them, and then monitoring generators and anyone who wants to move towards the rescue. And I think this is what he's trying to do here now, hooking towards the circus, where you really don't have a lot of structure to hide behind.
Yeah, it was a little bit difficult there. I do love the use of agitation here because it's twofold, right? It works that you can put survivors onto scourge hooks, and also agitation is just a fantastic perk for placing survivors on specific hooks that you want, because we know in comp games the placement of people on hook means that you can, yes, camp them at the same time as protecting your generators, which is incredibly good. We can already see a For the People play happening onto Doug. They are incredibly early, but with the balancing, we know for a fact that that survivor cannot have Decisive Strike, and it seems that Angels is perfectly happy to chase Doug as well. They're a Scourge Hook. They are also not the Decisive Strike user, so they can be tunneled out. That is that is incredibly smart by Angels. We can see there they have definitely lost the other Adam player. I'm so sorry, I don't know how to pronounce any of these names. But it seems that Angels is just going to take the Claudette, activate Scourge Hook, Pain Resonance. I think this start for the killer is already looking a little bit better than what we saw last game. Like, the survivors are a little bit less organized. The killer is able to pressure them in the correct spots. There is only one generator that's close, but even then, like, it can be interrupted. We have this Lara over here who is also just caught out of position. Yeah, this is looking like Angels is doing a fantastic job, has a great start. No generators are done just yet. One that's going to be close, but this is a dream start. This is looking like it might be a 4K with more than just one generator left with this sort of start. It's not over till it's over, but it's looking like it's in a bad spot.
Yeah, I have to agree with you here. I think the biggest difference is when we remember the previous trial, how chill Ascent was handling this quick hook stage. After 1 minute and 5 seconds, thank you to our analyst, in the previous trial, we already had the first hook stage, and Ascent was vibing on the generators. They even let the team member go into the second stage, making sure that they get pressure into 3 individual generators, and this is what Silence in comparison was not able to do, and we see them suffering from that right here. They have 1 generator now, a second one is reaching the 75%, but we are a lot slower than in the previous trials, and Angel knows that as well. He knows that he has a little bit of extra time here, and therefore he's going back towards the top side, expecting that Miriana is over here in the jungle gym. He's totally right with that, but we are moving all the way towards the top side. Wolf form again. Will we see a nice double dash as we've seen before? Main generator completed. Dark is coming in, taking a hit here. So Silence realizes very well what's important here, keeping the player alive. And unfortunately, after a very strong play with the Wolf and the Hellfire, it is going to be the down. That's going to be the heal in the distance. Ray, is this the ray of hope that we see here, or is it going to be just the camp out now, Angels holding the circus, and we can say goodbye to the first player?
So this is interesting because Angels did have quicker chases and downs, but they were all on different survivors. And we know the best strategy in competitive play is to tunnel out a survivor. And the killer last game was able to get Kenji out relatively early, I would say. But the survivors here are actually just getting generators done. And the survivor is not tunneled out just yet. Oh, they don't have Decisive Strike. I don't know if Decisive Strike is allowed in this balancing. I am so sorry. This is a new killer for me. I know I should be informed, but I don't know. I don't see it at any survivors, so it might not be that Dracula is allowed to have it. So that might just be my bad. But yeah, if they can get this player out, then they would be in a really good position. Oh my god, a head-on play. Oh, he saw it! He came around that corner so fast! No, but that will be this survivor player out of the game. Eventually, the tunnel does have to come through. I mean, I saw this a little bit when I was casting Ollie's tourney. Even though you can play a better killer, the tunnel out strategy is just so important because you're removing one player from the game who could just be sitting on gens, who could be healing someone or saving someone or sitting on hook. So now that the 3v1 has entered, the real game can start. The real struggle bus that is trying to juggle chasing a survivor, having them on hook, saving them, and doing gens. This is where you really shine as a survivor group. The 3v1, how well can you handle a scenario such as this? And even against a really high tier killer like Dracula. Okay, Decisive Strike is allowed, all right? We just didn't see it. I'm sorry, this is new balancing for me. I apologize to my viewers for not knowing, but this can be a very precarious situation. They need to get one generator done to tie. If they get 2 generators done, they win. There are 2 hooks happening around on the survivors. One survivor is Death Hook, actually, a little bit of bugged UI. And then we have Doug, who has taken 1 hook stage as well. But here we have Angels, who is just came back to hook to camp this person to death. Because you know what's worse than a 3v1? A 2v1. Hellfire as well, when you are attacking somebody, can hit multiple targets as well. So that's why you see Dracula pull up their attack like that. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Yeah, that's gonna be that survivor dead on hook. They're not going to be able to save at all. The ace is sitting on a gen right there, possibly trying to get that done, but I believe Angels knows that and is just pushing him off. But are they able to get the save? It might be. Angels might have been a little too greedy. Is he making it back to hook in time? He is indeed. So he can't be saved. That person is gone too. It's a 2v1. They're gonna try to get that 1 generator done, but it's Dracula, man. He's got the back form, he's got really good pressure. It might just overwhelm the survivors. They want to get 1 more done. He forgot he broke that pallet. Oh, they're gonna try to get this, but I don't think it's looking like they can. It might be a win for Team Ascent.
Yeah, we're not seeing enough generator progress for that. Unfortunately, there was too much downtime in the early game, not really countering the first down that Angels had, and then going for the hook stages. They allowed him to set up the entire farther campus, basically, and unfortunately, Silence now not able to make the counterplay here. The hatch is not going to have impact for everyone interested in the rules as long as the generators are not completed. Exit gates and hatch escapes will be ignored, because otherwise we're allowing the RNG during the end game to take a significant impact. Of course, Doug could use the hatch with some style and adding a little bit to the team morale, but unfortunately it is going to be Doug on the floor now, and that seals the deal here in the very first set of the winter circuit. Dracula on Angels is just too strong for the survivor team from Team Silence, and that means we are having 1-0 for Team Ascent here at the beginning of this qualification match. As we mentioned before, the win is enough to qualify for the main stage, so Silence does not have a second chance next week or anything like this, meaning that the pressure is entirely on this match here. Luckily, the qualification matches are held in a best of 5, so one set like this is absolutely no catastrophe. You don't have to go into silence. You can still make it back. And it is pretty unknown what's happening in the next set, since we're playing on the red shop with the so-called killer. Unknown Ray is a very interesting killer to me, by far one of the most loved in the competitive scene. When he came out, I absolutely disliked this killer. When I saw what the comp players are making out of him with all the fascinating teleports, the overview of the map, how they are handling the map pressure with so many teleports, etc., I started to love the Unknown, and I think it's a perfect second set here for the potential comeback of Team Silence.
Yeah, Unknown is interesting. He's a very difficult, I personally would say difficult killer. So it really seems that the comp players are really out to prove me wrong, because they play this killer so very well. They do a fantastic job. The power, it's really interesting. But I do find that the best part of his kit is just the teleport ability. The ability to place the hallucinations around the map and be able to get to them, to be able to pressure survivors all the way across the map super fast. That is just crazy. It's so weird that the non-chase power of the killer, in my personal opinion, is better than the chase power. So even if you're not just a fantastic user of the UVX shots, you still can pressure the map very well. So if you're good at macro, you definitely can come out on top. I'm particularly happy to see this set because I know that Angels, he probably picked the set because he's a very, very good Unknown player. He has a win streak that he does. So leaving this killer in the pool for him to pick is definitely going to be a sight to behold. I hope so. So the survivors are going to have to bring their A game. That first set was very, very interesting. It was very new. I think some people, it's going to take some time for people to really get super comfortable into Dracula sets because of his immense map pressure and his ability to do some really good chases. He's basically Wesker and Pyramid Head, right? Pyramid Head, if he had to do line of sight, and Wesker, but I think Dracula's power comes back quicker than Wesker's bounds do. So he's very interesting, very new. But now we're going into a killer that has been played a little bit. So we might see some more familiar organization from the survivor players. This is the pick of Ascent. So I'm hoping that they have done some really good practicing, not just killer, but on the survivor side. This will truly shine, showing how good they are at macro with the Unknown teleports. I believe the killer is still on Wrecker's Yard, right?
Sorry, say the last part again.
Is this map Wrecker's Yard? Did they pick it?
Red Shop.
Wretched Shop. That's a little bit newer for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. Same realm, but a little bit of a different map. The Red Shop, yeah, was an interesting one when I saw it from the rule committee as well. Going with, because I was expecting the Wrecker's Yard as well, and if I try to imagine and going through my archive of memories as the DBDLeague grandpa, I can only remember that the Wrecker's Yard is in. But the rule committee assigned him to Father Campbell, Coal Tower 2, or the Dead Dog Saloon, and the Red Shop is the backup map that became available due to Father Campbell's being already played in the first one. So the Wrecker's Yard is not available in the winter circuit. The rule committee is saying that we really want to basically untie the Unknown from the Wrecker's Yard. We want to see something new. We want to see how the teams can adapt to a new environment. So it almost feels like it's a double challenge then now to play the Unknown, because it's a tricky killer anyway, I would say. And now on the Red Shop, I mean, yeah, you're still playing on Auto Haven basically, but it functions a little bit different than the Wrecker's Yard.
Yes, I believe that Wretched Shop is also bigger than Wrecker's Yard.
It is bigger, yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, Unknown came out, and everybody put him on Wrecker's Yard. All the comp games. Although I have seen somebody play some on Suffocation Pit, but it might be that Unknown was just put on this map, and the expected result for like a really good Unknown player is a 4K. I believe, because we've been seeing that quite a bit. So it might be that since he was just placed on that from the get-go, we want to try something else. We want to try something different and maybe give the survivors a little bit, a bit more of a chance. Unknown is just an absolute menace. He cannot be stopped. But I think that's interesting. I want to see how he plays on these maps that could be considered a little bit more difficult for the killer. I do like the bigger maps though, because the hallucinations, the teleports can make him snowball super effectively and feel like it's just a struggle for the survivors. So we're going to see Wretched Shop, still an Auto Haven map, like you said, so the tiles will still be the same. But it's not the same played as Wrecker's Yard for sure. We are loading in. This is going to be interesting. The same survivors that we had last match, are they going to be able to keep up against Angels Unknown this round?
Angels on the Unknown, indeed. It will be an interesting trial because Angels obviously just gained a lot of confidence from the trial that he played. He was loading into the Dracula set with a difficult win condition and was able to make it. And I think Angels also learned from this match that the best medicine against the Survivor team of Silence is this early pressure and overwhelming the Survivor team. I think this is how you described it, Ray. This worked really, really well. The Survivor team lost track of the generators, was not able to get the necessary pressure in, was not really able to focus on the counterplay. And if Angels is now feeling confident anyway, we might see a strong first chase, and this coming a little bit to a repetition. So the Silent Survivor team needs to make sure that they're quicker onto the generators this time, that they really punish the killer for every second that he loses in the chase. May it be the Survivor dragging him into Corrupt, as we see right here. Navo on the first chase, trying to drag Angels away from the active generators. Angels, as an experienced player here from a lot of tournaments, even playing for Team Cynic, that was really making the names in the American scene. Not taking the bait here, trying a shot though, but now he knows that two survivors are in this area, so now he's willed to go into the first chase. Not the worst palette for our Adam here, but we have a teleport available and the shot coming through as well. So Louis is already taking the UVX. Perfect timing on the pallet break though, when Louis was on the outside of the tile here. He was breaking the pallet to close the distance. It's going to be an M1. Louis played this very well, though, getting rid of the UVX while dodging that shot. That was well played.
Well played indeed. This is the reason that I say the Unknown's power can be a little bit difficult, right? The survivors are doing a great job of dodging it. It's not like a Huntress Hatchet that travels, I think, faster, and you have to do the bouncing. Although, look at that! Wonderfully done by Angels. Will be taking their first hook right there. First generator gets done. That was far away from the chase, so we know that the survivor was chasing around main building for a reason. We have this same exact build coming out of Angels here. Corrupted Invention, Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, Scourge Hook Gift of Pain, and Agitation. Both Agitation twofold, allowing him to get a Scourge Hook whenever he wants. And also the ability to hooky Survivor wherever he pleases. Oh, that was a nice shot. Nicely done. The UVX bouncing is a blessing and a curse sometimes. Using the power to zone a little bit as well. The Survivor gets stuck on a tree. Who put that there, behavior? So, will be weakened. That is what they call a state. Very wonderful shot. Taking a hit right there onto Doug. A teleport away. Possibly back trying to get the Survivor tunneled out. Does get a hit onto the ace there as well. Dude, Angels is just popping off right here. Oh, waiting to place a teleport right there. This is really good, right? That's not the main chase power of Unknown, but it's definitely a good one. Oh, no. Oh, and the Survivor has no choice but to vault. Does get a little bit of a life. The teleport ability is the ability seen there in the middle, I believe. Yeah, and they were placed in a no-win scenario. If they teleport inside, then the killer can give them a hit, and if they stay on the outside, they get hit regardless. So that will be Adam going on to his second stage. 2 generators done. Some survivors out there with injuries, however. 3 generators done. I was caster cursed a little bit. but that is pretty good pressure from the survivors, I would say. We can definitely feel the effects of putting Unknown on a bigger map. They are taking chases very far away from the generators, so that means that they can work on those a little bit more safely than they would have been on Wrecker's Yard. But right now, Angels found a injured survivor, meaning that this could be a quick down. However, Angels is not taking it. He's coming back to hook, getting out a survivor. Fantastic idea in a cop game, and he definitely wants to go for that. Look at these gens that are really close together, however. The survivors neglected to break this. They did all the gens on the other side, but forgot about the ones that are clustered together. I'm sure Angels is foaming at the mouth right now because that is tasty, tasty 3, close to being a 4 gen. This is going to be difficult for the survivors to come back from. Yeah, they got 3 gens done, but it's going to be a lot easier for Angels to defend this setup.
It will be difficult to defend, and I must say I'm even surprised that Silence is chaining these 3 generators together here. They definitely made a huge step up in the generator improvement compared to the previous trial here. Instantly learning, basically. Great save here as well. Nancy, however, is going to find herself on the hook right here. Unfortunately for our killer, this is the fresh hook, so Silence gained a little bit of a chance to make a comeback. 2 minutes hang time, and maybe Louis and Doug want to consider going for a reset, but we see the blood pools already. Doug tried to move over here. Nice attempt there with the UVX, bouncing it off the window. That landed successfully, and now you don't necessarily need the M1. You can just use the power for that. Quick down over here in the corner, and we are not too far away from the Nancy that we just hooked. The teleport back towards the hook, potentially interrupting it, but Silence is 1 second faster. Nabo, however, is going to take the next shot here, and that's going to start marking the tricky situation for our survivor team here. 2 injuries in the distance, 2 people down or on the hook at the moment. That is really not looking like generator number 4 is coming out soon. The survivors have a long to-do list and need a long recovery play here. The only chance they now have is quick rescues, longer chases. Now we really need a longer chase, because if Angels keeps chaining them together minute after minute, it is not going to be any wiggle room for the survivors to go for a reset or a generator. Nice stun! This is what we need here. Louis will make some distance, has the chance in the access to the main building. Ray, this is the chance to make something great here.
Yes, indeed, especially because we know that this survivor was the tunnel out target. Angels is doing a little... Oh my god! Somebody get this man an ambulance, because my god, that was an insane burn. Jeez, Angels is definitely feeling himself today with these UVX shots, absolutely showcasing exactly why he picked this killer. This is something that is just so crazy to see from Unknown players, man. I am so jealous. Like, that is just great mastery of this interesting killer. And Angels was doing a little bit of a nice guy strategy. You know, he said, I don't need to tunnel Adam. I'm just going to get fresh hooks on every other survivor before I get one out of the game. Nice job, Angels. The survivors now are just in a bad spot. They went through all of that, and they still didn't get a single generator done. And they're all injured. They all gave a hook state. So now they're in this really weird and precarious situation where they still need to break that generator setup on the other side of the map and also reset. Nancy's over here just injured, just doing gens. She's vibing. The other 2 survivors did get a heal going. So they're in a pretty good position to get some more generator progress. It seems that they're doubling a generator. It could be at this point that they're just fighting to get at least 1 more done. Nobody is tunnel outable. Everybody's on their first hook. So it's not as if the 2v1 will be coming very, very quickly. Seems that Angels is just committing to this. He might just get the idea that... Oh my god, such a nasty shot. It might... Oh, okay. I was gonna say, it might be that he's just accepting that it will be a 4K1 at the best, but no, he's fighting more. He wants a 4K2, and you know what? That's admirable. He's gonna do a little bit of slugging here. This allows you to pressure a lot of survivors who don't have to take the time to hook. He is at a scourge hook, so hopefully somebody doesn't award more generator pressure. So, I mean, if Ace dies over here, though, that's huge because he would die next to a generator that had a bunch of progress. That's going to be really bad for the survivors.
But it looks like that is going to be the case, unfortunately, because you won't make this window, and that is going to be another bad news for Team Silence here. The generator now being in a difficult spot. We are going to have the next hook stage here for Team Silence. That's the second hook stage onto our ace, 70 seconds away from the elimination. Duck is hiding in the background here behind this rock, and it's extremely important that this survivor is not being located. And I think while I'm saying it, I just cursed Duck into heaven, because that's going to be Angels straight up on the Claudette. And this means that Nancy is now responsible for unhooking the team member, or they are going to prioritize generator number 4 in terms of the win condition here, but then they would also risk getting 4K'd right here, right now. So it's a difficult decision for Team Silence. And Angels now with the perfect move there, breaking or regressing the generator that Nancy is currently working on, forcing Claudette back into the unhook, so creating a little bit of chaos among the team of Silence. They have to switch positions constantly. Nice sprint burst though here for the Claudette, getting exactly the distance that is needed to go on a little bit of a run. And now ultimately Claudette would be a deciding factor how many gen progress we can expect. But Angels realizes that the Shack is a very valuable tile on the Rat's job, and that he might lose too much time over here. And with this calculation, he's going back towards Ace and Nancy on the top side. You can see this experience on the killer side right now, and what a great shot, making sure that the range effect of the UVX lasts through the wall and taking care of the survivor. And that's going to be Duck, sniped into oblivion, but at least generator number 4 is going to be completed. So Silence upping their survivor trial here a little bit. We have seen them more coordinated on the gens, more with the pressure, but unfortunately it was not enough to really put the pressure down here. 4 gens once again for the survivor team. However, Ray, I want to say it looked a little bit more pressuring and a little bit more definite than in the previous trial. I feel like Silence made a step up.
Yeah, it seems that they are warmed up and they are ready. They were able to get that one more generator done. Very admirable, because dang, Angels was on top of this game. I don't know how else to say that, but definitely did a really good job. All the survivors are down, out, and on the ground. An important side note, even if the survivor does bleed out, it still rewards the same amount of hook stages. So whether Angels finds them or not doesn't really matter. Even if they were to slither on out through hatch still. So the win con. Oh yeah, lovely. Oh, I love it. I love the Moris. The Mori is so good too. Okay, so what the team next game needs to beat this result is to 4K the survivors with 2 generators remaining, and to tie if you 4K them with 1 generator remaining. So that is going to be their goal for the next game. However, this isn't their killer pick. So it might be that they are not, maybe not ready as much. I don't know how else to say that. But it's going to be something that they're going to need to fight for. We'll have to see if they have a spicy unknown player on their team as well. This is a high skill killer. He's pretty difficult.
Absolutely, and we can only hope that they have a player. As you mentioned, the teams have only 2 bans before going into the picking phase, so it's not really that you can eliminate a lot of killers from the roster, but I feel like Unknown, just as you mentioned, you have to teleport, you have to have a good overview, you need to master your UVX shot, you need to practice the bouncing also. Yeah, like the scene that we have seen where Angels was bouncing the UVX shot from the frame of the window. onto the survivor, this is not something that you make spontaneous during the trial because one of your team members in VC says, hey, bounce it from this tree and then 28 degrees onto this survivor. And said, this is not something that you pull off mid-trial. This is something you need to specifically practice for. So my theory is Unknown would be a must ban if you are scared to touch him. And the fact that Silence was not getting rid of this killer is telling me that they might have something in store that is putting Ascent under pressure here. Maybe we can pull in Toby real quick, our analyst, because the Unknown was also in the All Hallows League. He was played there. He was played on stage quite often, if I remember right. Maybe Toby can tell us a little bit also about the Unknown. What is the specific challenge when you're facing or playing as the Unknown? What can we learn from previous tournaments in DBDL?
Give me about 1 to 2 minutes to pull up the other stat sheet because I'm out of monitor space at the moment. I need a little bit of time.
That's why you gotta go for the 3 monitor setup. You gotta go for the 2 horizontals and the 1 vertical. That's me, baby.
We'll yap over that, and it was very it was very mean to pull Toby in like that. But maybe we can hold a little introduction about Toby. So basically, what Toby is doing is he's giving so much insight and so much sense into all the tournaments that we are doing. Again, happy invitation, join our Discord server, ping tournament analyst in the general chat, and make sure that you are asking your questions about teams, players, perks, strategies. For the winter circuit, Toby is even adding the first down timer, so we get a little bit of an idea what team is having really strong early games on their survivor side, or maybe also what killer is really good in getting the first down as quick as possible. And you can learn so much from the data. It's not only the pick rates, sometimes it's a combination of certain perks, or you want to learn more about a specific team. Hey, what killer build is the favorite one of Zaka? What is a perk that I should bring when I want to make this in this playstyle? All of this is something that you can learn from Toby. So definitely use the chance, join into the Discord server, and feel free to ask there.
I got the stats now.
Okay, Toby, it's your stage. Go ahead.
The Unknown was kind of a middle of the pack killer in the AHL. It got some play. We have seen 14 matches, but surprisingly, the stats do not look that great. We had like 7 to 8 hook stages per game, but the 4K rate of the Unknown is one of the lowest we had for all killers. We just went above 20% 4K rate, so the teams adapted really, really well to the Unknown and managed to outplay him a lot of the trials. It was like really a middle of the pack killer in the AHL at least.
Okay, so Unknown, you say a little bit of a mixed bag. So there's the chance to overwhelm a team. There's also the chance that things are going horribly wrong, we could say. Let's really hope that Silence is using the chance here to make sure that the comeback is on point, because otherwise we would talk about a 2-0 for Angels and Friends. We could call them, and then it's going to be the decision in the upcoming set already, and you really don't want to be down by a 2-0 here. Shout out to the teams we must give for the quick preparation times. Mariana is going to take the responsibility for Team Silence here. Angels, Kenshi, Zafis, and Ja on the survivor side. We are going to hop on a very short break. Should be maybe a minute to grab a drink and a snack, and we'll see you with the second set of the current best of 5 in just a moment, guys.
Welcome back, everybody. Back to the matchup of Silence versus Ascent. We are on our second match of this set. Unknown, the killer to win needs to 4K with 2 generators remaining. The killer last game was able to get a 4K 2, so if they want to meet this result, they can 4K 1. But we don't want to tie, we want to win. So, this is Mariana playing the Unknown for Team Silence. A very interesting build. We can already see some of the perks that are unbanned. We have Grim Embrace, which is unbanned during this set. It's gonna be a perk that you can't pair with Scourge Company Resonance. That's why we don't see that. We also see a little bit of Barbecue and Chili, which is a really good perk to use for the unknown, able to teleport across the map and gain knowledge as to where the survivors are. Angels, however, is taking the first chase here, doing a fantastic job. Chasing a player that has a lot of experience against a killer is always so scary because they know all the tiny little tricks and what to do to overwhelm you. Angels will be taking that UVX shot right there. However, maybe we can see a tag happening soon, possibly. Angels running away, taking that shot, will be injured, is deciding to stay on this side of the map, however. So the other survivors, I wouldn't be surprised, are doing gens near the main building. That will be the first down and the first generator coming through.
That is a very nice start that we are seeing here on the survivor side. You certainly feel good to sacrifice Angels here on the first hook when you are getting 2 generators in exchange. There's the information. It was a chase of 1 minute and 29 seconds. I think against an unknown you can be quite proud of that when you have to dodge all the UVX and teleports and M1s and what else is thrown at you on the ratchet shop here. 129 for Angels, and we see the result when the team of survivors is organized and efficient. And this is again, even though Silence is stepping up here in the second set and presenting themselves much stronger and much more efficient, still not the level that they were reaching. Ascent is just too quick and almost with no mercy, you could say. They are not giving the killer any extra time to set up here. Mariana is also spending some time, unfortunately, expecting that someone is behind the hook, and Jar is moving in the perfect timing here. Mariana lost a little bit of time. She was not watching they were not watching the generators or the other survivors. Angels is finding the tunnel out, most effective strategy, but it's also going to be the decisive strike and the pallet right behind Angels. So a little bit of safety, a little bit of distance as well into the next chase, and this generator is already on 80%. I almost feel bad for our killer here, because Mariana with 129 also not having the worst early chase in this game. It is still pretty okay to down a survivor on 1.5 minutes, but this survivor team, Ray, is playing absolutely perfect right now, and it's brutal to see this.
This is going almost exactly according to plan. You write on a piece of paper how exactly you want a game to go, and it seems like the survivors are just following that script perfectly. Their first chase was the decisive strike survivor, someone who has experience against the unknown as well, doing a really good job of just dodging all of these shots. It's really putting the killer in a really hard to come back from position. We can see though that Angels is definitely going down here, does not make a shack pallet. That will be Angel's second hook, however, but the team out there is probably working on generators. Remember, their win con is just to get 5 generators done. So Jaw's generator is almost completely done. Honestly, they could just leave Angels to die in that basement and sit on gens, and they win. It might be that's what the plan is. They have started another one. It's more efficient to split on generators for the progress. Zathis, Jaw, and Kenshi. We could see that Kenshi's over here. Jaw was on the generator in main. Zathis probably hovering for the save. The unknown takes a moment to digest the situation, but kicks that 1% generator and just goes back. They had Eruption, which is a good generator for pressuring generators that are close together, I would say. Angels does get saved, however, doesn't have DS, so can be a tunnel out target, but man, it's not looking too good for the killer here. They need to tunnel everybody all at once. Ja and Kenshi are sitting on the same generator. They just need to get it done. Just need to get it done, and then they win. And the survivors know that. I don't think the killer can just continue to go for Angels. They're kind of in a really bad spot. Angel sits on that generator in Shack 2. The other 2 survivors are just able to work on generators. It's looking like the survivor team here might have it in the bag.
Yeah, it looks too good for the Survivor team at the moment. It would require a pretty bad mistake, almost a throw, how you would call it, to break this current dynamic. But we have seen all of this happening in the past, so you should never be too confident on the Survivor side. Mariana is switching over now to the next Survivor here. Kenshi will be in the chase, but this means that Zaphis and Angels are free to finish the current generator that they are taking care of. And here we are in the end game, 2-0 for Team Ascent, making sure that the pressure is now all on Silence, because we only have one set to bring the team back. If Ascent wins the next set as well, we will talk about the 3-0, knowing that this team is going into the main stage here. Kenshi is doing a very good job in keeping the Unknown busy. Now access to the window, chooses to hold W though to increase the distance and gaining some extra time to get rid of the UVX, and Mariana is completely mind gaming themselves over here. That is a little bit representing how the trial went, in my opinion. Ascent just a little bit too strong, one step ahead here, and the things that are trying, these cheeky mind games, they're just working. And unfortunately for the Killer of Silence, this trial was not working that well. I wouldn't be surprised if the Survivor team is now even trying to get a 4 out here to really set a sign, making sure to tell Team Silence we are stronger and we will also be the stronger team in set number 3, making it into the main stage here. Kenshi on the hook, but we see the Survivors in the distance. They take the safe solution, Zaphis, Jar and Angels just leaving the trial. But my god, when we are looking at the best of 5 so far, the first set was an absolute close roller coaster from Ascent under pressure, need to make a 180, need to make a comeback, and now set number 2 was not a roller coaster at all. It was the German Autobahn straight ahead with 180 kilometers per hour into the win of Ascent. There was nothing that Silence had to say against it. And this worries me for set 3, Ray, because this is now going to be pretty difficult for them to bring it back.
Yeah, they need to win every set from here on out. Silence does, in order to take this set. They are going in strong, however, because this third one is their killer pick. It is going to be the Mastermind, but not on Coal Tower. It will be on Dead Dog Saloon this time, a map that has a history of being dangerous for 3 gens and dangerous for chasing. We know that there is a correct way to play Dead Dog. That is what I heard from a comp player a long time ago. There is a way to loop on this map. Main building can be such a headache for killers, so avoiding that sort of area is key. However, survivors know that, so they're trying to take the chase over there. I haven't seen Mastermind really played on Dead Dog in comp sets, so I'm not sure how it's going to go. I mean, the new maps for some of these killers and being able to pick maps like this is very, very interesting. So this might be a way for them, Silence, to make a comeback now. Playing a killer on a newer map, maybe the other team doesn't have as much practice. I mean, Wesker is historically played on Coal Tower, so maybe they'll have a hand up. They need to win. They need to bring it back. So we'll see if they can do that.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Alive Cat Saloon. We are here with Angels in the first chase. Of course, Angels, the player that takes so much responsibility today with a great survivor performance and 2 times on the killer so far. And Narvo is instantly changing the target here, knowing how dangerous that player is. Dangerous, however, is the Dead Dog Saloon main building in general. Zaf is here with the very first vault and instantly blocking. We have our spicy Hex friend crowd control here in the game. The Survivor team has proven themselves, though, that they are very quick on getting these Hex totems out of the way. So let's see. There it is. Ruin already gone. Let's see if the second... Wow. Oh, I feel bad for the killer for cursing the totems this hard Mathis with the first injury here, going into the shack now, dropping the shack pallet most likely to make distance and staying safe, making sure that the first down is not coming through too quickly, and it's actually a very beautiful chase. Navo cannot even go for the dash attack here, as he's now using this little house perfectly to his advantage. Dash 1 and Mathis already around the corner, making sure that Navo has absolutely no chance. Survivor found triggers again, so we're talking about a whole new chase here. That means that Mathis is also able to deny the bloodlust at the moment, and this looks like a very horrible start for our Mastermind, especially when we consider that the killer is currently down 2-0 in this best of 5 and is fighting for the main stage, but a very unexpected comeback here onto Angels. If he continues with spicy actions like this, he will be successful.
Yes, indeed. That was a really good switch up right there. I can't believe they actually got the grab as well. Wesker add-ons are egg and the gloves. I feel like it's important to bring attention to that because it changes the way that the dashes work exponentially. Mathis is now a little bit slowed as well. So if I believe Narvo is how you pronounce the name, if they want to chase Mathis, that is still a really good idea. So if they can find them and catch Mathis out, that will be a little bit easier to get into a chase with them. However, this is Jaw, who hasn't even been hit once. It seems like the killer is having a bit of a hard time getting their first down. Both survivors have been chased, they have been hit, but because they were in danger, they're probably going out of their way to make their to get back to main building, the little bit of a safer area where they can heal up, spray, reset. I mean, right now, the killer is just, I mean, they're down a couple stuff because there's a generator done. No down that has happened. I can't say if I think this is a good result for Wesker to have because this is just a new map. A new map for me to see on a comp stage. So I'm not entirely sure what is supposed to be a good result. But the survivors, they are just doing a fantastic job. So good result or not, they're doing great. The killer's just having to break all of these pallets as well because they're just not playable with Wesker's dash. They're too rounded. You can't just get around them like you can in some jungle gym tiles that we see on Cold Tower. Right here as well, like you can't use your dash at all. It just doesn't get you anywhere. So Jaw doing a really good job of looping. Tries to go for a dash right there, but no dice. You are not going to get a ping hit on Jaw today. The survivors have reset. They're back on generators. As like, I think Mathis and Angels might have been on the same one. Kenchi's starting a solo generator. Finally, the first down comes through, however. That will be Jaw on this middle hook. Hopefully, it's a Scourge hook pain resonance. We need some regression happening. Yes, indeed, that is one. And the killer hook's right on top of it. That might be that generator regressing. We'll have to see what the plan of the killer is now, because your first down didn't happen too early. So I don't believe you can afford to just completely camp this because the survivors will just sit on gens, get them all done. The killer needs to decide what they want to do. Oh, but the survivors have decided for them because Jaw gets immediately saved. Mathis does take a hit there, but that is that survivor out of the way. They are out of the area where the killer can defend the survivor on hook and camp gens.
We just got the stats from our analyst in the background. It took roughly 4 minutes to get the first down here, 3 minutes and 54 seconds, and that is indeed very horrible news. I even feel like we can see on the Mastermind a little bit being overwhelmed and realizing that something very big must happen here. In the meanwhile, Ascent is absolutely smashing it. We have the third generator. We have the reset now onto John, not only with the health state, but also with the spray right after. So the entire survivor team is basically back to zero, ready to spread across the generators and getting the progress together here. Very good work so far. It's also a very nice position here with the hook stage straight on the street. You have a little bit like a triangle. You have the shack to guard, the generators around you, the main building that you can protect. Overall, very nice position for yourself here. Finding the Claudette and Angels with some nice movement, able to outrun the Mastermind, not taking any risk here. Mathis is now rotating back towards the main building, but it's too late to the Mastermind to follow that survivor, so we are going to see the rotation onto Jar here, who's currently fixing the generator on the gallows area, and Kenshi is around as well, taking the injury here, but the Mastermind doesn't really stick to any of these survivors at the moment, because he's facing all of these generators that have 70 to 90% at the moment, and then you cannot follow these survivors. We've seen it here, Kenshi immediately, and Jar doing it as well now, immediately rotating towards the side of the Dead Dog Saloon, where you have no generators currently being worked on. The water tower, a perfect empty corner, and Navo just doesn't have the time. We see the slug even onto Jar and Ray. This is ultimately telling us how much pressure the killer is feeling at the moment.
Yeah, it's a little difficult to be everywhere all the time, all at once. The survivors are just doing such a fantastic job. They are running early when they need to, making it so the killer has no time to catch up. They make it to another loopable structure or main building before the killer can even get a singular tag. They do pick up that survivor that was downed. I believe that was Jaw, who has already been hooked once. So it could be the plan of the killer. I don't believe here now you are even planning to forward play. You are probably just planning to try to get as many hook stages and as many fresh hook stages as you possibly can. The survivors have an idea of that, however, and right now, Angels, even though there's no loopable stuff here at this side of the map, they're just running to try to waste as much time, make it so if the killer wants to hook, they have to hook in this complete dead zone where the killer cannot afford to... Oh my god, they're trying to get them infected, but it's not working, and it's just wasting so much time. Angels with the pathing, doing a really good job of just wasting the killer's time. You can't defend this person on a hook. It does get grabbed in the end, but man, that was a waste of like 10-15 seconds. Every second counts in matches such as these. That will be Angels placed up on hook, but the plan worked. They were able to get all of the generators done. And I believe, you know, the UI bugs out a lot, but I believe that is just 3 stages for the killer. 3 fresh hooks spread across all these survivors. The one person who would be a fantastic hook right now would be Kenshi, but I believe that the survivors know that, and they are not placing Kenshi in any sort of danger. Oh, Kenshi does go for the save, however. And that will be Angels back in the game as well.
Do you actually?
Oh, but it's not enough. It's not enough. It needs to be a throw and a damage, but yeah, the killer is not going to be able to get it. Tried to get a little bit cheeky hits in there, but oh, nope, not going to be enough. Not going to be enough. That will be 2 survivors out of the game. Angels might be in danger if the infection spreads. By the time they get to the exit gate, dude, they are just going for it. I don't care. I would be a little bit scared. I don't know if there's any structures outside the exit gate that the killer can throw them through. Oh, but they're not even over here. The killer's gone. So that would be just 3 stages, 3 fresh, and a 4 out from the survivors. Well done.
Very, very well done. Even how they are at the end there with, I believe, Angels and Jar it was, making sure that there's more time wasted. So the other 2 survivors are safe to travel to the other exit gate. That was very, very well done. And yeah, we're talking about 4 stages now in the upcoming trial to make it into the main stage as Team Ascent here. So basically you can camp the first survivor that you catch to death, and then 1 additional stage. That would be the 4 stages that are required here. So we are moving to the potentially final trial of this best of 5, or is it going to be the ultimate comeback here from Team Silence? We will find out after this very short break. You are having a very hopeless win condition, and then you're bringing in a Devour Hope, for example. And when that works out, you can shut down the game surprisingly fast. And then it could be a nice trade-off. You're bringing a build that is not carrying Devour Hope, and then you're bringing Devour Hope as a wrong perk. and then you're just taking half of a hook stage penalty in exchange for a new perk, something like this, and then at the end it pays out for you. So every rule offending perk or a different perk to what is announced by the teams beforehand will be taken out, and you're playing with only 3 perks in this trial. Angels, however, doesn't seem to worry too much about the restart, will get an injury almost instantly once again. I think, Ray, we can tell this is a very confident and very trained player on the Mastermind.
Yes, definitely. We can see the trade-in for perks. No corrupt intervention, instead opts for a complete Hex build. We saw in the previous game, however, that the Hex perks were cleansed very early. This map is very interesting because it does have a lot of totem spawns that are hidden, but I believe these comp players over time have just learned the spawns. There's one in main, there's a, I believe, standard Hex spawn in the water tower. So all of these perks, I believe that we're looking at it right now. A lot of these perks can easily be found. It's just over time, people have learned where these spawns are. It seems the survivors are not cleansing them, however. Oh, and Doug has, I believe that is a rule. You bring an offending perk, you're not allowed to bring any perks. So that is them paying for their mistake. A save does happen onto Ace right there, however, but he does have decisive strike. Goes for a vault there, but is not able to get it. I mean, Angels is in such a commanding position. To win this game, he needs to get, I believe, 3 stages, because if they meet the results of last game, because they brought in an offending perk, they have a 0.5 penalty. So if they tie, it's still a win. So 3 stages. It seems that Angels is not even going for fresh hooks on other people. He's just going around, just trying to get a tunnel out, which is still a really good strategy to get. I do believe Mastermind he struggles a bit on this map, because we've seen performances from Angels thus far, and he's been doing really good on kills. But here we go, we've got a second stage on a Survivor, and they have some admirable gen progress. One of the Hex totems was cleansed. I think he brought Undying, so none of them actually, just the Undying totem. And that'll still be Ruin and Thrill and Crowd Control, I believe, was the last one. I don't know. It's gonna, yeah, there it is. Thrill, Crowd Control, Ruin. That is still the perks that are in play. I mean, if he goes for the tunnel out here, it's still really good, because then you got 3 stages, then you win. They can't afford to let any more stages happen. But, I mean, that's kind of a tall order. Yeah, and if Angels places Adam right up on the hook, that is probably going to be the win. However, I believe Angels is a little bit more confident in himself. He wants to get the best result possible, because at the end of the day, it's still a comp match. Even if you win or lose, it is still really good practice. Yeah, they're out, and this will be a Survivor out.
It is absolutely, and it's a good move here to already put the Survivor out of the game. As you mentioned, we are looking forward to the main stage here with Ascent. They are doing a really, really strong performance for themselves. Set number 1, we said it at the beginning, we were a little bit worried there for Ascent, as Silence was really looking like they're going to pull the big surprise here and putting Ascent under pressure. But now it becomes more and more clear that they are such a dominant team. Angels trying to catch Mariana here, not able to do that, a few centimeters off. Difficult mind game here for the Nia. We do see the red light here with the wall. Angels is trying to test the patience there, but I would say that Mariana very clearly was the standoff winner there. Unfortunately, the run doesn't last much longer afterwards. We are having decent gen pressure though on the other objectives, 50% over here, but we see as Adam is leaving the generator, the Hex Ruin is kicking in, unfortunately regressing the valuable progress that they have just put into the objectives. Onto the street here, aiming towards the main building. That's a smart choice if he would make it though, and that's going to be Louis onto this pallet. It even looked like that Angels was kind of trying to force the 1v1 there with how clearly he threw him towards the pallet. That was very Very funny. And Dark now is the final standing survivor with a lot of responsibility. And based on the gem progress, Ray, it looks like Claudette is over. Never mind. She's all the way over there.
I would have guessed that she was around there too. I believe Angels did as well, just trying to swing through it. But they made their way around there. They're not giving up without a fight, and that's very admirable. I love that they are sticking through. Like I said, you know, it's not over till it's over. I mean, it is over, the match itself. But, they're still playing it out. Trying to get the best result that they possibly can. There is still a lot of Hex Totems out there, though. Like, crowd control can be so strong. It is permanently blocked Shack Pellet until they can cleanse it. And then Thrill itself, even though it got nerfed from its really, really over-buffed state, it's still a very good perk to bring. It really does protect your perks very, very well. And I believe you can't bring Pentimento in anymore. So bringing it in with the full Hex build is not allowed. So instead of opting for protection on totems when they do get cleansed, you just make it really difficult to cleanse anything. I don't know if the survivors even know where the totems are. They might, and they might just be trying to get as many generators done as they possibly can through the Hex totems that have been cursing these survivors, right? It is just ruin. It's just ruin. You know, it's an end game perk. We're not an end game just yet. We can still get some generators done. They have done a good job of splitting the map too. So it's not like they can still get another generator done. They could get 2 if they really please. It's not even a 3-gen, like right there. Those are kind of close, but not really. If they get that generator done that's really far away, they still can lock in and get as many gens done as they possibly can. Angel's trying to go for a little bit of styling on them, but their pathing is still good. These survivors, even though they were not feeling so good about those matches, about those chases, about how it's been going, they're still very good players in of themselves. Going for some dashes right there. Yeah, they're not completely just falling over just yet. I mean, there's still 2 generators out there with a respectable amount of progress, so they could get done.
Absolutely, I have to agree. And we should also always remember, when you are selected to play on the DBDLeague stage, you already made yourself a pretty strong name and achieved something very respectable, because for the winter circuit, again, we are talking about more than 50 applications that were handed in for the winter circuit. So being one of the 24 competitors that is making it here on the stage is very strong. Thrill of the Hunt might just have sealed the deal for Mariana, but a very nice dodge here when Angels is trying to punish them for touching the Hex Totem. Dark might now use the chance and going over towards the Shack. Injured though, so Silence in general needs to be very careful. And we can see that Angels is expecting the same, and Claudette is indeed already in the basement. Killer will now make it back towards the Shack to keep at least one of these survivors, either the rescuer or the survivor that has been rescued, and getting back a hook stage. Luckily, Louis is able to reach the pallet over here. Adam now, though, with the double dash in a difficult spot, and he's thrown into the little fence that we have over there. So that's just going to be the quick rehook for Angels right in front of the main building. Quick access to the hook as well. Actually, interesting that he goes over here. He shows the awareness for the generator, wants to make the use out of the hook location, and straight after eliminating that survivor, he's going to chase the survivor that is currently rotating away. So Ray, I think it's safe to say we are potentially talking about a 4K here.
Yeah, a 4K indeed. Angel's doing a really good job on the Wesker, showcasing exactly why he is the killer player for his team. Very, very admirable dashes here. It's definitely showing that he can definitely show up on a lot of killers today. Played a really good Unknown, played a really good Dracula, played a really good Wesker. These killers are, I would say, very high skill expression. So the fact that he's able to play all these killers with such grace, I would say, was really good. I mean, it sets a precedence for their team as well. Team Ascent is going to be one to be feared for the rest of the season. Bring your practice, bring your killers, bring your survivors, bring those strategies, because they are not messing around. I mean, we already know that the set is won. They are taking their very first games with a clean sweep, a 3-0. Doing a really good job here. GG well played to the teams today. Doing a really good job of just absolutely organizing these plays out. That will be the third survivor gone, and Hatch right here. Do you want to take Hatch? Do you want to take Hatch? Do you want Hatch? Too bad! Are we gonna see another Mori?
I mean, hopefully, because we certainly cannot let it happen that it's not ending with a Mori for you. So, Ray, exclusively for you, there it is.
Thank you, Angels. You did 3 Moris today. You know what? I really like it. Although, you know, we didn't get to see any use out of the Ebony Moris. Like, all of these Moris have been just survivors who are the last one in the game. We didn't actually see any use out of that. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting indeed, and we'll see if Rapture and Archon, the two teams that are playing next, are going to make a different use out.